Alright, welcome everyone. Kasama po natin today si Justice Carpio again. Justice Carpio, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you, Richard, for having me, and thank you to our viewers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, um, sa sobrang effective ang mga interviews natin, I just reposted our interview 2 days ago nung nahuli si Quiboloy and immediately it got 50,000 views. I said like, talagang, yun ang tinatawag ng classic. It's a time immemorial. Just Carmen, were you surprised dun sa... Wait, first of all, what is your theory of the case? Surrender, nahuli, or heroic sacrifice? There are three versions of this story. What is your version,
Well,
Justice?
there was no voluntary surrender because he was already cornered.
Right.
The police knew where he was. He was being given time to surface, to get out of the building. So he had really no choice but to surrender. Iba yung voluntary surrender na you can either decide to flee or to surrender. Ito wala na. Wala siyang tatakbuhan eh. Surrounded siya eh.
But, di ba, towards the end, Justice, there were two intelligence services, the Philippine National Police Intelligence and the AFP intelligence services who was involved. But he chose to surrender daw sa AFP? I mean, why would he do that? Is he trying to embarrass the PNP, or are they trying to make too much out of nothing? I mean, is this a tempest in a teacup?
Well, first of all, I think the lawyer advised him to surrender, to make it appear that he surrendered because that will mitigate the penalty.
Right, right.
Uh, Second, it will look better for him if he voluntarily surrendered. But it cannot be a voluntary surrender because he had no more choice. He was cornered. He was in a one building. They all surrounded him in the compound where they have been looking for him for 2 weeks almost. So he had no choice. In other words, surrender, voluntary surrender, you can decide whether to give yourself up or not. Here, he had no
Right.
choice.
But Justice, how dare you, Justice? He said it's heroic sacrifice. He saved lives of many people. He avoided violence by giving himself up. Justice, you're being unfair. We're being biased.
Well, that will be decided by the court. What is in front of us is the warrant of arrest issued by the court, so it has to be followed. And the police were just doing their job. Really, they had no choice but to follow the order of the court. And he will be given a fair trial, and that's the time when he can rebut the charges against him to prove that he is innocent. But he cannot demand conditions for his surrender because that's not allowed.
Yeah, we will go to the conditions again. I think the extradition issue, Secretary Remulla admitted and made it public the other day. Now, the request is bound to come very soon, if not already, as of this recording. Justice, first of all, the I don't know if it's Topacio, Torion, all of these legal luminaries down there, right? Who tried to like were they like mudding the water yung mga Squid Games ulit yung mga ano like warrant of arrest versus search warrant yung mga what was the legalist drama acrobatics our friends were playing?
Well, it's the duty of the lawyer to his client to raise all the possible defenses they could think of.
Ayan na. Yeah.
That's uh, that's part of their duty as a client, as a lawyer
Right.
for their client. So it's part of the rules of the game that you raise whatever defense you can raise. Ultimately, of course, the judge will decide whether those defenses are meritorious or not. So there will be a time of decision. Now is the time to raise all your theories about the
Right.
case.
Right. We'll go to the judge issue and the court issue and jurisdiction issues soon. But going back to this, my reading, Justice, was it looks like some quarters were looking for some sort of a violent encounter or para pa-victim sila or try to delegitimize the police operation. Obviously, gladly, nothing untowardly happened. What is your read of the conduct of General Torre? Do you think he's deservingly getting all of this, hero of the moment kind of praise and credit all around?
Well, he had to make the best of the difficult situation
Yeah.
because the followers of Quiboloy were out to really prevent him from making that arrest. No, so well, he did a good job. He did not engage in a rumble with the followers. They were rather disciplined. What was important that they had the time to search him, to look for him in that huge compound. But finally, I think they found out where he was, and they gave him time to surrender.
Right. They salami slice it. I mean, um, obviously the pressure was not only from the Quiboloy kingdom, it was also from the mayor, whether it's Baste, it was the vice president Sara coming out and showing support to the supporters of Quiboloy. It was the resolution passed by the Davao Council. Suddenly, justice was human rights discovered in by our friends in Davao last week. Na download lang ba nila sa Wikipedia last week? Parang I never heard about due process and human rights nung time na nasa poder sila. Biglang ngayon, they're very concerned with due process, rule of law, justice. What is this? Can you tell us about your fellow Davaeños, the legal luminaries there who are suddenly very concerned with human
Well,
rights?
well, the lawyers, of course, were advising them, and
Yan na
they
naman
had
tayo.
to raise all the possible defenses. That's how lawyers are taught. That's how what they learn. And but ultimately, they
Great
have to
people,
submit
great
to the
people. Yeah.
decision of the court.
Yeah, great people, amazing people. Yeah. I mean, in short, you're saying palusot lang nila yan, but you're right. I mean, we'll leave it to the courts. Now, wow. Now let's go to the difficult part of this. I mean, first of all, again, big picture. Do you think this was possible if not for the two factors, right? And I try to emphasize this in recent interviews with BBC, ABC, among others, which is one is Riza Ontiveros really took a risk, right? I think Riza Ontiveros' hearings at the Senate, taking up the cudgels, bringing the witnesses, exposing Quiboloy, going all the way to the warrant of arrest, kahit si Mig Zubiri, drama, and all of that. And then, of course, the fallout between Marcoses and Duterte's. I think lacking those two foundational elements, I'm not sure this moment would have arrived, right? With all due credit to General Torre and the PNP folks down there.
Well, you're correct. Without the committee of Senator Ontiveros, I don't think this would come to light.
Right.
And of course, if the Duterte Marcos coalition held, then of course the police would not have gone that way to look for him.
Yeah.
2,000 policemen. That's about
Yeah,
all the
like,
policemen in Davao. The people in Davao did not have any policemen
left, yeah.
watching over them at that time. We were all there in the compound.
Medyo nag-sarzuela na. That was quite a drama. Buti nga natapos after 2 weeks. Imagine if this thing dragged on for years, though. Now, Justice, so let's go to the issue of jurisdiction. So the government admits that there is an extradition request coming, if not already in the pipeline. Some are saying he has to stay and face justice here. President BBM last night had, I mean, he seemed quite tortured. I'm not sure, probably he was just tired or I don't know. When he was asked about this issue and sabi, no, we're gonna leave it to domestic courts. So you're the only one, or at least only prominent legal luminary out there was saying, no, dapat dalhin na sa US yan. I don't know, Albuquerque, Alcatraz, whatever, but sa US yan. But there are many people
Well,
saying that maybe that's a step too far for BBM at this point kasi ayaw niya ma-portray siya as US puppet or whatever.
well, it's up to the government of the day, the administration of Marcos, whether to hand him over to the U.S. on extradition or to let him face the Philippine courts in the first instance. No, it's really up to the Philippine government whether to tell the U.S. okay, we'll give him to you now, or you wait for us to this to finish the case against him first. So it's really up to us. But if you don't want, if this thing will just preoccupy our attention, and the followers will create a lot of ruckus here. So might as well turn it over to the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, Wally kept on saying a good lawyer will give you all the options. Now, if you were the chief legal advice, if you were in Enrile's shoes right now, I don't want to be in his shoes right now. You were to advise BBM. what are the pros and cons of each options? If we keep him here, what courts are his options? Court in Davao? I'm not sure that's the... Dalhin ba siya
The,
dito
the,
sa
the, the,
Manila? Paano ba yan?
the case is already with the Pasig court, the
Ah, right.
non-bailable case, so that will continue
Right.
unless we allow the extradition. There's a less serious case in Quezon City. So the case will not be heard anymore in Davao. It's been transferred to Metro Manila.
And what is your read of the DOJ kind of, I don't know how they call it, slap on the wrist when the RTC in Davao tried to intervene during that time? There were some sort of interesting acrobatics our friends were doing down there.
Well, well, of course, as I said, the lawyers of Duterte will try every legal means to block the arrest. Lawyers of Quiboloy, rather. So, well, they got a TPO, but the judge that issued it said it does not affect the warrant of arrest. The warrant of arrest will still be enforced, and of course, the Court of Appeal struck it down.
Yeah.
So that's part of the actions of a lawyer in trying to protect his client. No?
Ang bait talaga ni Justice. These are conscientious lawyers working in behalf of human rights and due process, just to be fair to our friends down in Davao.
Well, they've lost already. It's not too kind to tell them. No.
At least they're doing their job. I mean, they're earning their pay. So Pasig, that's gonna be the ultimate court where we might see Quiboloy really facing the more serious charges as things stand. Is it safe there? Is it feasible there? Hindi ba susugurin ng mga ano yan or ma-intimidate? Tawagan ba si Mayor Vico? What do you see in terms of the political, logistical realities of this beyond the legal
Well,
facts of the
I
case?
think the people of Quiboloy will try to rally, to hold demonstrations, and that's why I'm saying it's probably better to give him handing over to the U.S. in the meantime.
Yeah.
But it's really up to the president. It's if he wants to pay first Quiboloy here, that would be followed. No, it's up to us. It's up to the
So you can
Philippine
have
government.
a sequential one, like one in Pasig, one in Albuquerque. I don't know. Like, I mean, how is
Well,
that possible? Like,
there
he'll be
is
tried in both
no,
countries.
yeah, there is no priority given. I mean, it's up to the Philippine government to decide. And the charges in the U.S. are equally as serious as the charges
Yeah.
here.
Right. Right. And more or less in the US na
Yes,
consolidate na nila eh. Oo, consolidate nila eh. Yeah. Do you think there'll be an interface between the US and the case in the Philippines? I mean, of course, the cases are different jurisdiction, but is there a way that the FBI or something could also provide assistance in some evidence gathering or, I don't know, provide some sort of credibility to the claims of patterns of abuse, institutionalized abuse?
Well, we don't know what will come out during the U.S. trial if the U.S. gets the trial first. Uh, but the offenses charged in the U.S. and here are practically of the same nature.
Yeah. The same nature. So, pwede mag-copy yung pasahan natin
Yeah.
yung portfolio. Pwede
A lot of
mag-zoom
well
daw.
in the U.S. A
Oh,
lot of because they're very thorough there, so a lot of
yeah.
facts will come out.
And baka daw hologram. Pwede hologram si Kibulay na sabay siya dun sa kabila. Tapos dito. Justice, now if you were in the shoes of Duterte's, what would you feel now right now? Obviously, the conspiracy theory says, well, he's now the administrator of all the assets and all. It's not the worst place to be nowadays. But at the same time, it's not like the Dutertes are out of the woods yet. No, I mean, what are the if you were an for a moment, Justice, let's say for a moment you were a literary prose, you're a novelist, you are in the mind of Duterte, what would be your opening paragraphs? Like Gabriel Marquez moment, yung mga ganun.
Well, that's very difficult to answer. Well, I think he has
Kape muna
a more
tayo, kape.
serious case. He's
Yeah.
facing the ICC.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think he has a time to worry about being administrator of the assets because his liberty is also at stake.
Yeah.
He has A warrant of arrest could be issued against him anytime. No, so that's the other thing there. Uh, and if the administration decides to extradite him, there will be another battle, legal battle in the Supreme Court, whether he's extraditable or not.
Oh, can you tell us a little bit about that prospect, Justice Carver, that this goes to the Supreme Court? Just for people to have a teaser or preview of what could come there if ever it goes up there.
Well, our extradition law says that we can extradite the person who is charged abroad, uh, provided there is an extradition treaty existing at the time of the extradition. There must be an extradition treaty. Now, in the case of the ICC, the extradition treaty is there in the Rome Statute itself. That if
Right.
you are a member of the Rome Statute, you're a member of ICC, then you must cooperate, including in the enforcement of arrest orders. But if, for example, the warrant of arrest is issued now, and the administration wants to send him to The Hague, he will go to the Supreme Court and say there is no extradition treaty between The Hague and the
Right.
Philippines because the I have terminated that
Right.
ICC membership
Yeah.
already.
In my
So, but of course, the other side will say, "Oh, been terminated," but there is a clause in the ICC statute, the Rome statute, that uh, even if you have withdrawn already and the withdrawal has been effective, acts committed during the time
yeah.
that you were a party would have to be continued, and you have to continue to cooperate with respect to those
The
previous
residual
acts.
jurisdiction, yeah,
Yeah.
aspect,
So
yeah.
it could go either way. The way I look at it. So
Ah, right.
the Supreme Court will have to decide.
Yun nga eh. So actually, oof, there are many.
The solution there, Richard, is let the
Rejoin.
let the rejoin right
Rejoin,
away.
exactly, yeah. Para matapos na. Para wala ng drama, di ba? Exactly. I think that if
Just
you,
rejoin the
yeah, para
ICC.
matapos na. And a lot of people who signed up to the Rome Statute back in 2011, was it right, are still there in the Senate, right? If I'm not was Jingoy? I think Jingoy also kind of said yes to it, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I think Lauren Legarde. So like you have an interesting cast, recurring cast that this time probably can get it right. No, I mean this is crazy. I think if you're Supreme Court, also you would rather want the executive to just make it moot and academic, right? Just rejoin the ICC and
Yeah,
finish the issue.
because there is a gray area now. Rejoining will clarify everything, will remove that
Exactly.
doubt.
Exactly. So medyo push pa natin si BBM on that front. But I want to ask another thing, Justice. What about also the psychological dimension to this, diba? Kasi not long ago, Quiboloy was seen, well, he sees himself as self-proclaimed, whatever, but I mean, he was seen as almost untouchable, right? And now to see him almost seamlessly, imagine pictures of him in mugshots. I mean, this was almost impossible to think about, just days ago even, right? And now we see him in mugshots with all of those people. I mean, now suddenly the idea of Duterte in mugshot is not also very impossible, right? If the self-proclaimed son of ay ganito, edi imagine kung hindi ka lang self-proclaimed, ano ka lang, di ba? Ayan, nagmumura-mura ka lang na mayor, di ba? So, I'm just saying, di ba, at the level of psychological barriers and political precedence, if I can put it, right? If you're Duterte, you'll worry about. Dami lang ginawang drama, resistance, it didn't work. If the PNP wanted it, they got it done, and General Torre was really, really effective in seeing this through without any incidents or drama.
Well, the drama will fade away the moment you're arrested, because remember what Kibuloy said. He will not allow himself to be taken alive.
Oh
He said that.
yeah, 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 yeah. May mga harakiri ano pa silang
Yeah,
drama, di
but
ba?
now he meekly surrendered, and he got the mug shot, and he barefooted pa. So, I mean, it's really a huge climb down. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can talk big, my friend, and then I mean, I heard Duterte may drama like that na magharakiri din siya or something like that. Now bagla hindi rin, hindi rin magda-drama lang 'yan, di ba? Wow, these are crazy times. I mean, just as to the degree that how much was this a conjugal kingdom, if I can put it, between Digong and Kiboloy, Kibs. Apollo pala, sorry. Apollo and Digong. I mean, isn't it a strange a spiritual man and an anti-religious man together.
Well, it's really a strange combination, but one is the spiritual advisor of the other.
Right.
But now the spiritual advisor is being charged uh, with sex trafficking and
Yeah.
with it's now rape. In fact, there was this video that was shown earlier tonight where a member of one of they call it servers or uh,
Yung mga night shift, ano? Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
the girls who
yeah,
would
yeah.
massage him. He just made a on television. He
Yeah.
said he was raped. No?
Yeah, so imagine if ito yung spiritual advisor ni Digong, imagine yung walang ano, yung ano lang, yung tinutulungan pa niya, 'di ba? I mean, that tells you the depths, the levels that we're talking about here in terms of alleged depravity. At least with Digong, he's honest naman with this with his ano, 'di ba? Indiscretions, if we can put it mildly. If you're BBM right now, Justice Carpio, are you a happy man, a worried man, excited man? I mean, like, what? Okay, so you couldn't draw the literary portrait thumbnail of of Quiboloy or Digong. What about BBM, Justice Carpio? What do you think is going through his mind, through his synaptic nerve system and all of that?
Well, at least this is one you one check of the many boxes. You take
Yeah,
one. Uh, but there's so many, and the most important there really is the West Philippine Sea because gas is involved there, and we're running out of gas in Malampaya, and that one is really going to affect us. So that one, he has not shown his hand yet how he will solve that.
yeah. I mean, honestly, Justice Carpio, I think now let's look at the nexus of all of this. I mean, you were talking about high stakes geopolitics. Ang pinag-usapan natin dito, kalaban mo China, napakalaki na bansa, ang daming stakes. To what? I mean, hindi ba mahirap mag-concentrate si BBM sa ganitong mga issue na sobrang high stakes kung ganun kagulo yung domestic politics? Because aminin natin, Quiboloy is a big deal. Alice Go, not herself, but she could potentially be just the tip of the iceberg of something really, really big, no? And then Duterte's could be also on the chopping wood soon. So, hindi ba mahihirapan din si BBM mag-concentrate sa international issues, or maybe the international issues are his way of relaxing and showing heroism na nahirapan siya domestically.
Well, it's really tough there because any time of the day, in the middle of the night, a crisis can erupt, and
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
be on top of everything. No? So it's really tough. The work of I've seen President Fidel V. Ramos before. No, I worked with him there in Malacanang, and it was 24 hours a day. I mean, at any time of the day or night, you can be called if a crisis erupts.
Yeah, if, perhaps it helped that he's a workaholic. No, I think anyone who knows FVR or knew FVR, this guy is a work. I think he just slept 4 hours a day or something like that. So something. So
Well,
you were the chief legal advisor, right, Justice?
yes, yes.
Yes, yes. No, because some people are wondering if you served also in the executive branch. I said he has served at the executive branch. Is that a secretary position, cabinet position?
Cabinet position,
Cabinet
yes.
position, right? Exactly. So I'm just telling, just for people to be reminded, justice was not just I mean, it's great to be a justice and a lawyer, but he also served in very senior executive position. For people who are wondering also about, kasi parang ang dami niyong alam daw dun sa mga nitty-gritty. Saan daw niya natutunan? Sabi, nag-serve yan sa Malacanang. Ano ba kayo, di ba? I think people have to know more about your other side kasi sumigat kaya as justice more than anything. I think that's why people, di ba ako, I asked you noon, Justice, when you were still in Supreme Court, kasi sabi ko, bakit, may, anong paki mo sa, sa West Philippines, like, in a very nice way. Bakit West Philippines? Yung pala, like, oh my God, you were on top of this issue noon pala, nung Panganiban Reef pa and all of that, no? So just to remind people. Now, Justice, let's go back again to the issue we raised last week, no? May update na ba tayo dun sa fund issue, yung PhilHealth issue and all of that, and some of the potential irregularities and all?
Well, there was a hearing with the House and the Senate, and the uh, president of PhilHealth, Ledesma, stated in the Senate today that he received an instruction cabinet, from a cabinet meeting led
Right.
by the president to transfer the funds.
Interesting.
Well, this is a new
Ah,
development because
interesting.
he was saying it was because of the circular of the Finance Secretary Recto that I transferred the funds, but now
Right.
he's bringing up the authority, a cabinet meeting led by the president. So he does not saying the president himself, but he said he received an instruction uh, from a cabinet meeting led by the president. Well, but of course, that just gives us an indication up to what level the authority was given. But at the end of the day, at bottom, it's a question of whether uh, the funds from PhilHealth can really be transferred constitutionally. Because my position is that it cannot be transferred because it's a special fund raised through taxation for a specific purpose. And the
Right.
Constitution says you cannot use it for any other purpose unless you abandon the purpose, and we have not abandoned PhilHealth, or the purpose has been accomplished. Well, it has not been obviously accomplished because a lot of hospitals have not been paid. A lot of people still require
Right.
health services. I mean, they're complaining there is a lack of health services. So it's really a constitutional issue.
Yun nga eh. Yeah, so let's wait for the Supreme Court perhaps to make a final.
Yeah, well, there
Yeah.
already my group will be filing a petition
Yeah.
also. There's a petition already filed by Shella Magno, Professor Shella Magno, and my group will also be filing.
Yeah, this is the whole anti-confidential fund, dodgy fund, yeah, yeah, all of this prerogative-based fund thing. Wait, Justice, are you implying that we saw a reverse of sacrificial lamb, like sacrificial lion? Like, di, wala ako sinabi, nagsabing sa taas. Ganun ba yung nangyari? Like, kaysa it goes downwards. Like, no, 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 siya nga nagsabi eh. Ganun ba yun? Pataas yung
Because if
laglagan.
because if they are wrong and we are correct,
Yari
this
tayo
will be
dyan.
plunder.
Yeah, like, medyo
Yeah, because plunder is only 50 million. This is they're
billions.
transferring
Yeah,
billions, tens
yeah.
of billions from PhilHealth, about 89.9 billion, and they already transferred from the PDIC, the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, 100 billion. Can you just imagine that?
Just as their live questions, and one of the things I like about live, someone's asking, baka yung ruling will come way after the moment the funds is transferred. Let's say November na transfer yung ruling. Let's say January 2020. I'm sorry, January 25 yung ruling, and then let's say the fund was transferred in November 2024. Is there a way to correct this or redress this if ever the
Yes,
ruling
we will
comes?
be asking for PRO, yes,
Ah, right.
restraining order when we file, because if they delay because they scheduled the oral arguments in January, by that time all the funds would have been transferred already. I
Right.
mean, simot na yung pundo ng PhilHealth, no?
Right.
So we will be asking for to freeze all the transfers.
Right. And hindi naman siguro magastos lahat by that time. Medyo siguro naman. Hindi naman ito yung confidential fund ni Madam na 11 days. Ubus na kaagad. Ano sabi niya, no? 146% efficiency rate. Napakagaling gumastos yung mga kaibigan natin dyan. Talagang confidential fund queen. Justice, going back to this, para talaga pag nagsama tayong dalawa, alam nila China ang ibabash natin. But let's go a little bit indirectly to China. Alice Go, all right? Let's be very clear. AKA Alice Go, actually, Whopping Go, okay? Whopping Go, pero AKA Alice Go. Baliktad yung ginawa ng PNP eh. What is your read of her extradition? I mean, I don't know how to even... Ano ba nangyari doon? Nag-charter plane lang sila, binalik lang. I mean, what the heck was going on? Fan meet sila? I mean, selfie kingdom, ano daw tayo? Selfie center of the world? What the heck was that, Justice? What were you feeling when you saw, she went there, pakit lang with an... I mean, parang ang galing niya mag-manipulate, no? Like, immediately, hindi niya pinagbigyan si Abalos. Mag-Abalos, papunta pa lang. Hi, sir, kamusta po? Nag-meet tayo nung last year, naalala niyo ka? Hindi na nakapwesto si Abalos. Ay, ganun ba? Ikaw ba si Alice? Ikaw naman, gumano ba naman siya? Oh, sir, di ba? Ganun, like, immediately she disarmed them eh. Parang may training ba ito? Magaling, magaling. I mean, what is your read of the whole
Well,
situation?
she's apparently very very perceptive, no? I mean,
Yeah.
she knows how to put to calm people,
Yeah.
and of course, when you look at a girl like that who has been dispensing billions of pesos, I mean, there is awe. People are awed, and it apparently uh, uh, the that sentiment of being awed apparently reflected on
Yeah.
the people who arrested her. No?
Disarming, disarming. Yeah, yeah.
Very disarming.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
So, but over time that will wear out because the she will have to face the cases.
what is your read of the Senate hearings? Necessary pa rin ba itong mga Senate hearings na to? Kasi, okay, I think Sherwin Gatchalian, Risa Ontiveros, I mean, they earned their keep, no? Pero parang daming sumali nung kahapon, parang naging Netflix series na. Tapos, yung ibang Epal pa, I don't know kung Tres Marias pa. I mean, yung iba pa parang, ano daw, kawawa pa si Alice ko, may death threats daw sa kanya. Parang ang layo ng mga narratives nila doon sa nangyari. Naging biktima pa si Alice, si Wapingo, di ba?
Well, I think they have to uncover one thing: who are the masterminds? Who are the people behind Alice Go? Because obviously she's not the source of the funds. No, the
Right.
funds came from somewhere for someone. So we have to know the root of the problem, and they haven't scratched that yet. No,
And,
so and of course there's the question of whether it should be the it should be the Tarlac or the Pampanga court that will handle.
yung
But
pa.
it's technical because if you follow if you say that, oh, a mayor with salary grade 27, that's her salary grade, the case should be filed with the Sandigan. But if you use that argument, you're saying she's a mayor,
She's
but on
legitimate
the other hand, you're
Filipino.
saying
Yeah.
she cannot be a mayor because she's not a Filipino. So there
Yeah.
will be an
Oo nga, na
inconsistency.
medyo this is
So
really
I think
uncharted territory, yeah.
that's why I think the ombudsman decided to say, okay, we have taken the position that she is a foreign alien, and of course, to be a mayor, you must be a Filipino. So,
Yeah.
in other words, she was holding illegally the position. So you cannot go to the Sandigan that she is a mayor.
Right.
You have to go to
Usurper
the
siya.
RTC now to say that she's a usurper.
Yeah, usurper, yeah. I think very, medyo English Civil War. Kasi Justice, baka pag bumalik dun sa kanila, meron pa, nakita mo yung mga memes na may mga billboard, "Welcome back, Mayor!" Tapos nakaganon lahat ng tao, yung demure, mindful, yung mga like, this is Banana Republic stuff, di ba? I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures, yung mga, ano, Bureau of Immigration ba, yung mga nakiselfie pa sa kanya. And you could see the Indonesian driver was like that, yung parang half sarcastic, parang, sigurado ba itong mga tao to gusto mag-picture, tapos yung kalate lang nakikita, like, I mean, what does it tell about our country? And then BBM coming in and saying, ay, wala lang yan. I mean, do you think BBM really believes na wala lang yan? I mean, nakakaya yan, di ba? It didn't reflect well on our, you know, essentially our law enforcement agencies. Buti nga nakabawi si Torre kay Quiboloy, eh.
Yeah, apparently we are celebrity focused. I mean,
Yeah.
taking selfies as a habit already.
Yeah.
So if you
Pati
make
si
an arrest
Quiboloy,
or
di
take a
ba? Pati si
selfie,
Quiboloy. Yeah.
bakit wala nag-selfie kay Kiboloy?
Meron, di ba yung mga officials yung nakakefire pa siya and ganun. Pero I don't know if it's counted as a selfie kasi parang mukhang galit lang siya doon eh. Parang more like evidence or
Tsaka
something.
wala na, the face was covered eh.
Di
Eh
ba?
si Alice, tinanggal niya pa yung ano niya eh, mask niya eh.
Welcome back. At saka, syempre, Justice, I have a very important legal question. Ano po yung status ng mga freebies na inoffer sa kanya ng Burger Brothers? Meron ding Golden Rolex sa Green Hills. Di ba? Sabi nila kung mag-surrender, ay, hindi kasi siya nag-surrender, no? So, hindi na maklaim yung Brothers Burger at saka Rolex in Green Hills niya, no? Talagang mga tao, kung ano yung mga tanong ng tao, concern talaga ang tao, no, Justice, dun sa mga freebies talaga. Sino kakain ng mga, maganda yung Rolex, nakita ko yung, ano, yung golden Rolex, medyo pang Shenzhen. Let's go to the latter and last part of our conversation, Justice, because we started also a little bit late. I hope I didn't catch it too late. Pag-usapan natin ulit yung latest sa West Philippines. So kanina lang, obviously the interview will come later, and kausap ko si Secretary Manalo, no? Among other things, of course, discuss natin yung interim agreement. I also asked about yung Admiral Lopez decision to expand this interim agreement to cover other areas. Looking back at the past 3 months or so, did that interim agreement, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, understanding not to understand, or agreement to disagree, did it work, or is it a template for moving forward? What is your understanding of that? Of course, people
Well,
can
it worked
watch the
for
interview
China.
separately for Secretary Manalo, but I want to get your point of view in retrospect.
Well, I think it worked for China because
Ah,
the
interesting.
first of all, they're saying
So you
there's
see
an
it
agreement.
differently.
I said an agreement means there's a meeting of the minds. Right after the minutes of the meeting were signed,
Right.
the Chinese said this is what it means. That the Philippines will inform us before they do Aurora. They will allow us to inspect the vessel, and
Make sure
we
it's
can.
just humanitarian, something like that. Make sure it's just
Uh,
humanitarian supply. Yeah.
and immediately our side said, no, that's not the agreement. In other words, there was no meeting of the minds. So there
Right.
was no agreement.
Right.
They disagreed. There was no agreement. And the spokesperson of the Philippines said, we are going to expand that arrangement. But what do you mean to say you expand the disagreement? It doesn't make sense.
Hindi, kaya nga sabi ko, di ba, Justice, it's to disagree to agree to disagree. Like, medyo next level
But
nangyari.
there's a danger there,
Yeah.
Richard, because what the Chinese are saying and what actually happened on the ground is that before we do Aurora, we will meet with them.
Right.
And in other words, we cannot do Aurora without meeting them. That's already an infringement
Yeah.
of our sovereign right. Because
Right.
if you have the sovereign right, you just do the Aurora. You don't ask anybody. You don't need to see anybody. But that's why I'm saying I am against that. Because the moment you agree that before we do Aurora, we will meet with you, you've lost already.
So
So
you're...
that's why I said don't expand that because
Yeah. I
la la la,
see.
no. So we should say we can say that since we have no meeting of the minds, there's no arrangement. We did not agree on anything, and then that ends
Right.
that situation.
I noticed also our folks in the government were also evasive to talk about the issue, because I think there's a realization of the potential implication or weaponization of this by China. But we need some sort of diplomacy with China, right? I mean, but on what terms? What are the terms whereby you think realistically we can have some sort of, okay, if not meeting of the minds, I don't know, at least not meeting
Well,
of our horns, or like something like avoid meeting of the
well,
horns. Yeah.
the objective of China is to prevent us from resupplying, so that we will give up that shoal.
Right.
So from
Wala.
that objective, we know that there will be no meeting of the minds. So what we should do is accept the U.S. offer to for the U.S. to join us when we do the RORE. They will be escorting us, and they've offered to do that, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
And you think that is something that we can more or less use as a template for the other areas of disputes, whether it's
Yes.
Spratlys or Panat.
Yeah, because we have a limited number of Coast Guard vessels,
Yeah.
although we have modern ones which we got from China. The
I
the
Japan,
BRPs,
Japan,
one
Japan.
of our,
Japan, not China.
Mag-
Like, baka mag-panic ang tao. Yan. Like, sorry.
yung Magbanwa is a little big, no? It's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
90 meters.
Right.
But the strategy of China is to ram it dis- and uh, and puncture it so that it will have to be repaired. It will take 6 months to repair those vessels. So we run out of vessels.
Yeah.
And that is their objective. Once we run out of vessels, they will take over Skoda Shoal. They will build on Skoda Shoal. So we cannot allow this kind of events to continue. They keep on ramming our vessels and puncturing our vessels because our vessels will be out of commission. We'll run out of vessels. So
But Justice, wouldn't that be exactly the argument to have some sort of an agreement? Because we are gonna run out of stuff. That's their mission kill swarming strategy. Any agreement that avoids collisions, so for instance ngayon sa Ayungin
well,
Shoal, wala nang mga collisions. So the FA could argue that actually they're helping us to recover and recuperate.
who's asking us to recover?
No, no, di ba? Because of that interim agreement, some would say at least wala nang incidents na rore dyan sa Ayungin
Yeah,
Shoal.
but ang kapalit diyan is terrible because we will be giving up our sovereign rights. China will later on say, "Oh, you've accepted that we have a say here. You cannot just resupply. You must get our permission. You without meeting us first, you cannot resupply." Then they have put a barrier already.
Wow, it's a tricky situation, and you think our power of will, or will to withstand will carry the day. I mean, if we just continue with I mean, how sustainable is the current strategy in that sense then? Because you're
Well,
admitting that
that's
we're
why I'm
gonna run out
saying
of vessels if China keeps on doing this.
the current strategy is not sustainable. That's why I said it's time already to accept the offer of the U.S.
So they have to come in then. Then they have to come
Yeah,
in then.
they offered to
Okay,
escort
I see why.
us.
Okay, I see you and Dindo kasi kayo ni Dindo you make an argument along those lines. I was wondering actually. Okay, I see now. I see now. So you're saying it's time now for to call a friend. Kumbaga, time to call a friend.
Yes, because we will run out of Coast Guard vessels soon.
Right. So you think we have reached the critical threshold? What about U.S. providing also us some of their vessels, some of the ones they're not using, or at least the Japanese and all expediting some of the ones they promised us when Kishida was here last year?
Well, we can follow that up, but that will take time. But
Yeah. In
in
the
the
meantime,
meantime, we have to resupply Teresa Bagbanwa. We have to resupply BRP Sierra Madre, and the only way to do that successfully now, without being rammed, is to have the U.S. to accompany us.
right. Last point, Justice. I know it's a little bit late. Thank you so much again for making time. And natuwa rin ako, Justice, na parang Ronald Llama style ka na rin. We cover like 27 topics. I can slice. So actually, in previous interview ko, I made 12 versions, including the latest version, which was a bestseller. All of a sudden, 50K agad, kagad na may breaking news. So, thank you for that. Justice, last point here. So now as we speak, early September, there's a change there's some reshuffling. So, iba na yung PCO Secretary, Communications, Presidential Communications Office Secretary. I'm hearing murmurings that there could be some also change in, communication and clearinghouse strategy. Medyo magulo, di ba? Parang ang daming spokesman sa West Philippine Sea issue. At some point, like, I'm just trying to be nice, di ba? Kasi kaibigan ko lahat in the sense that I talk to all departments and agencies. I try to be fair, di ba? And objective. What is your read on this, Justice? I mean, all amazing people, great people, but what do you think is the best way forward?
Well, if there is any change, it must be seamless because if you get a new guy, it takes time for him to be accustomed to what's happening, no?
Right.
And we cannot just get somebody from the outside and you are now the spokesperson. It's not that it's not possible because you have to know the history of what has happened in the last 5 to 10 years, no? So we must be aware of that. Let's have a seamless. If you have, I'm not saying that we should change, but if we have to change for whatever reason, there must be a seamless transfer of responsibilities.
The reason I'm asking is that because it's supposed to be the NTF WTS national, which is led by National Security Council, and then and then suddenly you have the Malacanang, the Maritime Council coming in. Medyo magulo. Like, you think ultimately who has to be spokesman? My understanding should be DFA, right? It shouldn't be DFA. I mean, DFA should be the one in the lead.
Yeah, well, they have to get their act together, uh, and I mean, and if there's a new spokesperson, you've got to have that guy because it's not easy, really. Because
Yeah,
you
daming
get
integrities, yeah.
questioned, you got asked, especially these reporters, they can just throw
Yeah.
questions at you, and before you can answer that, you must know a lot of history, the background, and it's
Right.
not that easy.
Yeah, it's not
So,
that easy. I mean, we have been doing this for 10 years. I mean, at least some of us. You more, you 30 years probably, but that's some of us doing 10 years and still we're learning the ropes. Thank you so much, Justice Carpio. Before we wrap up, is there something that you wanna folks to check out, to watch out for? Are there issues that you think are important for us to emphasize that we have not emphasized enough before we wrap up this fantastic episode? Thank you so much again, Justice Carpio.
well, if you have the time, if people have the time, they can visit the National Library. The 1734 Murillo Velarde map is on display. Uh, it shows Scarborough Shoal and the Spratlys as part of Philippine territory,
Right.
1734. So you
You
can
were with
visit it.
Gibo, di ba? You were with Gibo the other
Yeah,
day. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I gave another map. It's the 1875 map.
yes,
Uh,
1875. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
this is the most complete and most detailed map during the Spanish regime. And when the Americans came, they didn't have a map of the Philippines, so they adapted and reissued this four times.
Right,
So
right.
this is a common map of both the Spaniards and the Americans when they were the sovereign rulers in the Philippines.
Thank you so much for the Justice Carpet. Obviously, miss ka namin. I hope next week it will be okay if you join us sa RRM in studio para tayong tatlo ni Ronald Llamas and of course, Attorney Gamboa. I'm sure mas magulo pang ganun and I hope we can have you in person next time in studio kasi na-miss ka namin. Dapat once a month in person tayo, Justice
Yeah.
Carpet, for
I'll
solid.
bring a small map of the
Yes,
1875 so
please.
that we
Let's
can
put it in
put
the
it there.
studio. Yeah,
Yeah.
malaking studio natin. So see you, God willing, next Thursday, Justice Scorpion Studio.
Okay.
Let's continue this conversation with more maps, more maps, more maps, more happiness. God bless. Thank you very much, Justice.
Okay.
Salamat po.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Ayan, sabi ko hindi lang siguro map, sama pa namin yung ano ni Quiboloy. Joke lang. Baka may mga ano din sila, may mga mock shots na ano, pictures or something. Thank you very much guys again. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nanood sa atin at everyone who appreciated this conversation with former Associate Justice Carpio, who of course everyone knows should have been the former Chief Justice Carpio, but this is Digong's time, and I think Justice Carpio would go down as one of the most, or some would even say the most storied and admirable justices in recent memory. And he's here and strong and vibrant and still fighting the good fight. And yeah, I think yung iba at least sa inyo na gets yun na. He has a background in the executive branch. He was at the cabinet of President Ramos. He was there when the Mischief Reef crisis happened nung kinuha ng mga Chino yung Panganiban Reef. So this guy knows his stuff. This guy has been in all different branches. Siguro kulang na lang Senado. Ibang usapan. Kaya siguro next week, tanungin natin siya. Baka naman, magsama sila ni Ronald. Gawa sila ng nila. Yung 0.6%, gawin natin 60%. You never know. On that note, thank you very much to all followers natin on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Please continue to support us. Yan, na-meet na natin isa sa milestone natin. 1,000 ratings na po tayo dyan back at 4.9 out of 5 star. Dyan sa Deep Dive with Richard Haydarian at Spotify. So thank you very much for keeping us very competitive at the very cutting edge of the best podcasts in the country. Kahit hindi naman tayo celebrity, hindi naman tayo singer, hindi naman tayo comedians, but we are all of the above. naman tayo, mabubuli na naman tayo. We are all of the above na. And thank you so much again. Malapit na tayo ma-meet natin yung minimum target also natin on YouTube. So please follow us, subscribe to us. Libre lang yan on YouTube, or share or recommend to other people. Richard Haydarian Vlogs. The reason is Richard Haydarian Vlogs is because we also have things there that have nothing to do with our political analysis, and we try to put more lifestyle stuff. I'm thinking of also interviewing Erwan Youssef and yung mga ibang taong ganito, simpleng tao lang, di ba? Pag-usapan natin food diplomacy, pag-usapan natin culture, cuisine. So you're gonna see more of those things on our platforms, on podcasts, and also on our YouTube vlog. So thank you very much again for your kind support. God bless, and talk to you soon. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat sa nagbigay ng stars and stickers.